Okay, everybody. So I am going to talk to you a little bit about the participant section of your paper and the analyses that you're going to have to do in SPSS in order to do this part of the paper. So we're starting here because it doesn't really make sense for us to start at our hypotheses because those are going to go along with the independent samples t-test and the correlation. So if you think back, let me see if I have the original version of the paper still pulled up. Oh, I think I closed it. Okay, that's good. But we had the title page, then we had the hypotheses, and then it started with the method. And under the method was what's called the participant section. So if you read right here, this is a participant section. It says participants included 228, and then it has in parentheses the number of women and men. Research statistics students, participants' ages range from 18 to 73. Then it has the mean age. So on average, these participants are 37 years old, 37.02 years old. And the standard deviation is 13.24. So remember the standard deviation talks about like the spread of the scores. So here on average, I mean, scores are 13.24 points away from the mean. That's a large standard deviation. So just keep that in mind here. I mean, we have a really large age range. This is not this isn't the data for your paper, so yours might not look like that. But in this particular case, that standard deviation is kind of large. Varying ethnicities were reported. So a lot of different ethnicities were reported with 78.51% being Caucasian or white. So I put the percentage and then I also put the number of people who identified as white in parentheses here. Then 11.10% or 25 people as African American Black, 8.3% or 19 people as Asian American, 4.82% or 11 people as Hispanic Mexican / American Latino, 2.26% or 5 people as Asian, including the Indian subcontinent, 1.81% or 4 people as Native American Alaska Native, and 0.42% are N equals 1 as other. Your ethnicity options are not the same as these, but you can put in what your ethnicity options are for this particular paper. In addition, I want to point out that in this data that I'm presenting here, I didn't have any missing data. So I didn't have any people who just didn't answer the gender question or who just didn't answer the ethnicity question. And I think you do. And so what that means is that you're going to need to say, like, where it says participants included 228, and then you have women and men in parentheses, you could have like 134 women, comma, 94 men, comma, 2 unidentified, which would mean they didn't answer the question. Okay, so that will happen. I mean, even with ethnicity, you could have like and 0.42% or N equals 1 unidentified, right? So that's what you could call them if they don't answer the question. Just want to point that out. Then we have participants' GPA range from 0 to 4, and then I have the average, the mean, and the standard deviation. We're reporting exercise habits. This percentage reported never exercising, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so this is very similar to what your participant section is going to look like, but obviously all the numbers will be different because I'm pretty sure I made these data up. Or I think I actually took a participant section from one of my papers and sort of like blended it in with the categories that you guys have. So anyway, these are not your numbers, so don't use these as your numbers. Your numbers are going to come from your data file. Hold on, let me just pull that back up. Okay. So if you're looking at this, we have all these categories right here. I'm just moving these over a little. Okay. We have gender, a bunch of 2s and 1s. Ethnicity, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, maybe 5s. I can't remember. GPAs. Oh, but look, for ethnicity, check it out. Nobody on line 72, like nobody, I mean, that person didn't answer it. Okay. GPA, age. I'm skipping this football question because is a very unpopular question. It was like, to what extent do you like fantasy football? So we're just going to pretend that that is not in there. And then we have the exercise question. Now, the problem with it right now is when you're looking at this, you really don't know what the numbers mean. So you have gender, you're like, oh, we have 2s and 1s, but what's a 1, what's a 2? For ethnicity, same situation. We just don't know what they mean. So if you come down here and click on variable view, okay, and then I'm gonna like pull these little sections out so you can see more of the questions. Oh no, it did it for all. I hate it when it does that. Okay. Go back, go back. So gender, what is your gender? If you see the values over here and click on them, I have it set up so it'll tell you like 1 is a male, 2 is a female. Okay. Ethnicity, 1 is white Caucasian, 2 is African American, 3 is Native American, 4 is Asian American. This survey's been up a long time, which there's some benefits to that because you have a lot of data to work with. But I really need to change it because it's just one of the questions that's infuriating for people, because if you don't match one of these, I mean, what are you going to put? Nothing? And you'll see we have that. Like, there's a lot of people who say just don't answer the ethnicity question because there's nothing that matches their ethnicity here. So I don't need values for GPA because whatever they put in, like a 3.2, we know what that means. Same situation for age. These are continuous variables. I don't need to have explanations for categories here. Like I said, I'm skipping the football question. Exercise. Let's look at that one. 1 is never. 2 is once in a while. 3 is once a week. 4 is a couple days a week, and 5 is every day. Okay, so those are what the options mean here. Okay, so going to okay. We'll get into all these other variables later, but they're not really relevant for the participant section. So I'm going to go back here. Okay. I am going to come up here to where it says analyze. So I need to know like the number of men, the number of women, the number or percentages of the different ethnicity categories, the average GPA, the average age. I have a lot of information that I need to know about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to descriptive statistics because I'm really trying to just describe the data, right? I want a bunch of frequencies. I want means. I want standard deviations. Frequencies and descriptives give you a lot of this stuff, okay? I'm actually, why does it keep doing that? Okay. I'm actually going to do the frequencies one, okay, because it gives you more, okay, more than the descriptives one. All right, so I'm going to click on it. When I click on it, now look, see, I'm just making sure guys know you can do this. Just make these boxes bigger. In addition, over here, I hate how it comes up with all the value labels. That really bothers me. So if I just sort of right click in here, I can click on display variable names, and I just like that a lot better. So what I would do is I'd move gender over. You can just double click on these to move them over, by the way. Ethnicity, GPA, age, and exercise. Okay, so I moved, those are the only ones I really need. I'm also going to click on statistics. And the only things, I think I told you this before, like for GPA and age, we'll need mean and standard deviation. So I'm going to ask for those 2 things here and click continue. Now you guys know pasting it is like my favorite. So I always want to paste everything. But once you paste it, you still have to highlight it and push play. Okay, now I'm not gonna do that here because that would sort of defeat the purpose and you guys having to do it and figure it out, because if I have it all in this video, then you can just go watch the video and get it and you don't actually have to do it. And I really need you to do this. This will be a great skill for you when you get into Research Methods Capstone. They will want for you to know how to work in SPSS, and knowing how to do frequencies, means, and standard deviations will be very important. Okay, you will be expected to know how to do that. So you have a video showing you how to do it. And I'll probably post just like some screenshots and stuff so that you know what you're looking for once you get in there. But when you do this, when you push play, it's going to pull up an output file, okay? And in the output file, it'll have all the information that you just asked for. At the top, it'll have the means and the standard deviations, and probably the number of people. It'll also tell you the number of people who didn't answer the question. They'll be listed as missing. And then after it gives you all the means and standard deviations for everything, if you keep going down, you'll see the frequencies for everything. And that's really helpful for finding out like how many men are there, how many women, how many people are identifying as white Caucasian, how many people are identifying as Native American. You also need that for the exercise one. How many people said they never exercised? How many people said they exercise once in a while? Now remember, while you're doing this, I want for you to keep in mind that it needs to sort of model itself after this participant section. This is how it needs to read in a way, the kind of tone that it should have. I also really like it when people give me the percentages and the number of people. Here's one question that you might have. There's multiple percentage columns, and I'm trying to remember which one I want you to use. I think it's whatever the percentage column is that actually includes the missing people. That's the one I want you to use. I think it's just percent. I think that's right. So I think it's just the percent column, and it should include the missing people, like give them a percentage, basically. That's what you want to have happen. Okay, so once you run this in SPSS, you'll get your means, your standard deviations, your frequencies, the percentages. It'll give you all that. You should be able to write up this section fairly quickly in your paper. Okay, and once you do that, obviously save it, save everything. But this is going to be your first lab assignment. Okay, it's just doing this participant section of your paper. So it won't be hard. You just got to do it, make it happen. You got this. If you run into any issues, you know that you can definitely let me know. I'm happy to help in whatever way I can. Okay.